We are live on a stretch of Lakeshore that had caused a traffic nightmare earlier this week. Well, some good news for drivers. The lanes and the stretch between Yonge and Jarvis has now reopened after construction was completed here. But the city is being scrutinized for approving so many projects at once. And transit advocates say it's time Torontonians turn back to the TTC. Desperate to escape what had essentially turned into a parking lot on the Lakeshore.
Look what this person is doing here. Look at that. Yeah. Now, desperate times comes for desperate measures.
Yeah, no kidding, wow.
And that's dangerous.
This was the chaotic scene earlier this week when 4 lanes went down to 1, forcing drivers to wait up to 3 hours just to get from Jarvis to Yonge.
We are 1 block away from my destination. I can't leave the car here.
Like, why are we doing construction during rush hour in the downtown core?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
You know, we scrutinize every request very, very carefully to make sure that it's critical work that absolutely has to get done.
Enbridge is replacing portions of a high-pressure natural gas pipeline they tell us serves critical customers such as hospitals and Billy Bishop Airport. Their work on this stretch of the Lakeshore is now complete, but there are more projects on the horizon. The city put out a release asking drivers to avoid the area. Why not just close it altogether? I mean, it's really not healthy for anyone to be sitting in traffic for 3 hours.
The reality is, it's a very critical corridor. We're trying our utmost to keep routes open and accessible as much as possible.
The construction takes place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is scheduled to be complete by the end of the day. But there are more projects on the horizon.
People need somewhere else to go. They need to turn to transit.
Transit advocates say it is the best option to beat congestion, but overall TTC ridership remains low, just 66% of pre-pandemic levels. Bus ridership is at 76%.
I think people were hoping that that number would be going up and up. It's a real problem for traffic congestion and our climate goals if people aren't coming back to transit.
TTC advocates tell us part of the problem is that service was reduced during the pandemic to deal with the loss of revenue from lower ridership, and there hasn't been a full return to 100% service across the system.
People can't count on the TTC, and so if they have the option to pay for an Uber, pay for a cab, or take a car, they're going to choose that because the TTC service has declined.
But the TTC says the experience might actually be better for riders now.
The amount of service that we actually have is greater than it would have been pre-pandemic. You're going to find more seats on vehicles than you would have pre-pandemic. We've got a campaign on right now that reminds people about, what a great option public transit is. It's cheaper, it's better for the environment. And in many cases, it's going to get you there quicker.
Of course, not everyone has easy access to transit, especially those commuting from outside Toronto.
The travelers may not have viable, reliable, efficient access to public transit. There are numerous reasons why people choose to be stuck in traffic. It's not something that's pleasurable. It is something that people have to do only because they may not have another recourse.
Now, while these lanes have reopened, we'll say that it's still pretty chaotic here. We literally just witnessed an accident, and we're not sure what caused it, but of course it's going to exacerbate the traffic situation now going eastbound. Westbound lanes approaching Jarvis are also packed, getting onto the Gardner. So really, it's still a really congested area of the city, as the mayor said earlier this week, one of the worst areas of the city, and with more projects on the horizon, that'll only exacerbate the situation here. The city says it is investigating why this particular construction project caused such heavy delays this week.